Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we're going to focus on the Egyptian commitment by the government and the political leadership under the tenure and the directives of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for the economic growth and resilience. But we'll be starting straight away with the main headlines and the main top stories for today, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi urged intensifying efforts to curb the inflation and improve the productivity with the aim of achieving higher economic growth rates. Meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madhouli and the Minister of Finance, Ahmed Kujok, President al-Sisi also stressed the necessity of enhancing the financial discipline through a set of governmental measures contributing to the promotion of the national economy's performance and supporting the national development pursuits. The President made these remarks as he chaired a meeting on the state's financial indicators, as well as the features and the objectives of the 2025-26 fiscal budget and the national strategy to slash the public debt. For the other top story for today, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said on Martyrs' Day, "We renew our commitment to the noble legacy of martyrs who made clear the sacrifices for the nation." In a tweet on his social media account, the President said that the martyrs presented their souls in order for Egypt to remain a safe and secure country. The Martyrs' Day has been a turning point in the modern Egyptian military history. The occasion marks the martyrdom on March 9th of 1969 of Major General Abdul Munaim Riyad among his brave soldiers at the Suez Canal battlefront in the war of attrition during the Israeli occupation of Sinai. And on the occasion of Women's Day, First Lady Mrs. Intisar al-Sisi attended the celebration held to mark the Egyptian Women's Day. Mrs. al-Sisi said that the occasion is an opportunity to showcase the Egyptian women's power of giving and determination and the achievements in building the society and accelerating development. And we will be heading to a report about the latest presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi over the past week, all in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received Ms. Dubravka Surcia, European Commissioner for the Mediterranean, in the presence of Dr. Badr Abdel Atili, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates Affairs. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi chaired the extraordinary Arab summit held at the request of the State of Palestine in the new administrative capital. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with Mr. Antonio Costa, President of the European Council, on the sidelines of the extraordinary Arab summit held at the new administrative capital. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas on the sidelines of the extraordinary Arab summit held in Cairo. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with Mr. Ahmed al-Shara, President of the Syrian Arab Republic, on the sidelines of the extraordinary Arab summit held in the new administrative capital. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi paid an inspection visit to the Egyptian Military Academy in the presence of Lieutenant General Ashraf Zahir, director of the Egyptian Military Academy. On his official page on Facebook, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi extended his greetings and appreciation to Egyptian women on the occasion of International Women's Day.
And on the economic front, and for the main topic of the daily debate for tonight, we will be focusing on the latest statements made by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli about the foreign direct investments and the cash inflows that took place over the past fiscal year, as they were matching the expenditures of the Egyptians for the first time in years. We'll be having more details in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
For the first time in years, foreign currency inflows into Egypt have matched expenditures, signaling economic stability. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli announced that the real challenge will be to transition from equilibrium to surplus, as achieving a fiscal breakthrough is crucial for ensuring economic stability and growth in the country's economy. For over 2 years, dwindling reserves created challenges in securing imports and stabilizing the Egyptian pounds. In response, the government and the Central Bank of Egypt implemented sweeping reforms, including adopting a more flexible exchange rate and strategies to attract foreign investments. Egypt's economy demonstrates fiscal resilience, with multiple indicators pointing towards recovery. The Purchasing Managers Index exceeded 50 points for the second consecutive month, signaling a positive outlook from the private sector. The achievement coincides with an unprecedented reversal in net foreign assets, which climbed from $5.96 billion in December to $8.7 billion in January. According to the Prime Minister, the apex is attributed to a deliberate stabilization of the exchange rate. This ambition is underpinned by targeted reforms in key sectors across industry, agriculture, telecommunications and tourism, which are expected to drive hard currency inflows and reduce external vulnerabilities. Madbouli credited this achievement to the CBA's vigilant monitoring of foreign currency flows, with bi-weekly reports guiding policy decisions. Foreign reserves had risen to a remarkable $47.7 billion, with January alone seeing $128 million rise over the previous month. This signaled robust currency management even during periods of heightened consumption and increased demand for foreign currency, such as the lead-up to Ramadan. Madbouli noted that the last 2 weeks' foreign currency resources have been quite equivalent to expenditures in the same period, indicating that we as a country are on the right track despite all challenges. He expressed confidence in such metrics to validate the country's forward momentum, adding that the stability of the exchange rate is central to meeting national economic goals.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic and banking expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate, and the Happy Ramadan.
Thank you for this kind invitation to and the Daily Debate team, and happy Ramadan for you and all our audience.
Anytime. Of course, we have seen today President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi having a meeting with Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli and the Minister of Finance Ahmed Kojok, and they spoke about a number of criteria that need to be addressed in the economic field for the Egyptians and for the country in the near future. How do you see the importance of this meeting, first of all?
In my humble opinion, this is a crucial meeting to agree on the next steps concerning the economic reform, and the most crucial thing that should be figured out on our milestone concerning the economic reform. As you know, and our audience, we have a lot of challenges, especially on the economic part, and to be honest with you and our audience, it's not Egypt only. We have a global inflation wave, and we, in my humble opinion, we deal with it in a smart way, to be honest with you and our audience. As you can see, is that the inflation is declining gradually, despite the fact we have a lot of challenges, and we are working on our GDP growth in an efficient way, and in my humble opinion, in effective and efficient way. This is a crucial thing. As you know, and our audience, our GDP growth, our GDP structure consists of three main parts. The first one, which is the agricultural part, and the second one, which is the industrial part, and the third one, which is the service part. And if you would like to have what we are calling it a quick win thing, you have to focus on the service part, because it has the highest added value, which is the service part, which includes everything, the tourism, for example, the programming, everything. This is what we are calling it a quick win.
Yes.
And to return back to the agricultural part and the industrial part, the industrial part is quite crucial for serving all sectors and decreasing the unemployment rate, that we can see it decreasing in a smart way, honestly. As far as I recall, in 2013 it was 13.5%, and nowadays it's between 6.5, as far as I recall, to 7%.
Actually, at least 50% gone.
Thank you. And this is a crucial part. And the third part, we have, it comes top of my mind, the agricultural part. If we are talking about it, we have to focus on one of the most important things. If you couldn't own your food, or you don't have your food, you will not own your decision.
Yes.
Accordingly, it's what we are calling it in another term, it's a national security. This is a crucial thing. Accordingly, the government is having a strategic vision under the presidential leadership to have a great economic reform, especially to absorb one of the most crucial things, the global inflation wave. And you can see that we are nowadays, we are gradually bearing the fruits of the economic reform, despite the fact there is a global, after the pandemic, the COVID-19, actually,
yes,
there is a great recession and a lot of things, and after that, the Ukrainian and Russian war, there's a increase or hike on prices of all services and commodities, and this correlated after that to a global inflation wave. You can see not just the developing countries, the developed countries also. The developed countries have a great inflation rates for the first time, like USA for the first time, as far as I recall, from 40 years, they reached to 9%. This is the highest inflation percentage across the last 40 years.
Yes.
And they are working on it. And Egypt also is working on it in a smartest way, to be honest with you and our audience. We are working in parallel in terms of the infrastructure to bring FDI, to absorb the inflation rate. All sectors are working closely to have this to work on this. And today meeting, one of the most important things that the President Al Fattah Sisi and Dr. Madbouli highlighted with Minister Ahmed Kojak,
Finance, yes.
Minister of Finance, how to work on this. And as you know, and our audience, we passed a great way on this strategic objective to decrease the inflation rate. And nowadays you can see that when you are decreasing the inflation rate, gradually the prices of the commodities will be decreased. Accordingly, as you know, and our audience, there is a correlation between the inflation rate and the prices of commodities.
Yes.
And you can see that when the inflation rate is decreasing, it will help us to have what we are calling it, we can say, the pace of economic reform, or the GDP growth will be enhanced. How come this? When you are working on decreasing the inflation rate, like nowadays it was reached, as far as I recall, 2 or 3 years ago to 40%, and nowadays it decreased to 22%, something like that, as far as I recall, which is the CPI, Consumer Price Index, which is what we are calling it, the indicator for the inflation rate, and it decreased almost like 50%, almost 50%.
Yes.
It's not by coincidence, it's a plan. All sectors on our government, also the private sector, are working with the harmony, or I can say it in a homogeneous way,
yes,
with the private sector, public sector and private sector, to decrease this inflation rate. And I would like to, in my humble opinion, according to a lot of indicators, I'm quite sure that the inflation rate, based on the latest decrease, in the coming meeting, the MPC, Monetary Policy Committee meeting, in my humble opinion, I'm expecting that the interest rate will be decreased, because there's a correlation between the interest rate, as you know, and the inflation rate.
Yes.
And the inflation rate
and
is
the higher
decreased.
prices, yes.
Thank you. And this will help us to have a great thing to accelerate the economic growth. Like, for example, the lending rate will be decreased, but that it will help to SMEs, to small and medium enterprises, and the corporate to lend from banks, and this will accelerate the economic growth, actually decrease the unemployment rate, because this is will help to create new opportunities. Accordingly, today's meeting was crucial to focus on the inflation rate, the commodities, prices, and a lot of things, and also one of the most crucial things, which is the FDI.
Yes, Doctor, you mentioned the importance of today's meeting between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. But one main topic that you mentioned as well is we need to be curbing inflation and improving the productivity at the same time. How would you see the success that we have had in those two fields over the past 10 or 11 years under the tenure of President al-Sisi?
Effectiveness and efficiency is quite crucial in terms of not just the economic part on all sectors. As you know, and our audience, we have an ambitious plan on a lot of sectors, actually. The industrial sector, the agricultural sector, the sustainability part, actually.
Yes.
You can see, in addition to the education and health, we have a lot of initiatives, and those, there's no, in my humble opinion, there is no conflict between them. They are integrating together to achieve our strategic goal, especially to achieve our 2030 vision.
Yes.
And this will possibly, in my humble opinion, reflect on all Egyptian citizens, and will possibly reflect on the growth rate. And nowadays you can see that Egypt is working on a smart way to be the business hub, in my humble opinion, for the Middle East and Africa. If you would like to, any country would like, or any investor would like to enter Africa, the suitable or the proper or the ideal gateway to come and invest in Egypt.
Yes.
Especially, we worked on the infrastructure, we worked on economic reform, the education part, the health part. Why I'm highlighting the education and health part? Because those one of the most crucial things, in my humble opinion. If you would like to build a country, you have to invest on the manpower. Accordingly, if I'm an investor and I'm coming to invest my money in any country, I have to check one of the most important reports, which is the competitiveness report.
Yes.
And we have a great success story in this report, as we jumped a lot of ranks. And when the investor, to return back to our point, when the investor is checking the competitiveness report and see this is a great opportunity, we have educated manpower, we have infrastructure, we have one of the most important things, economic stability. I can transfer my revenues to my home country. This is one of the most important things, and political stability. And nowadays, honestly, that we are working on all of them, we return it back in terms of political part.
Yes.
And the strategic direction for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to return back to play our historical role, especially the latest visits for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for a lot of countries, one of them which is Denmark.
Yes.
It was the first, can you imagine, it was the first visit to Egyptian president since, as far as I recall, 1922, something like that. Can you imagine? We are trying to return, and this is on the European part. It's a metaphor, just one visit. I'm just
There are other visits
it.
to other countries and other
And
continents.
the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also is doing a great job under the direction of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. And in addition to all economic ministers are working together and collaborating. You can see that Ministry of Finance is working with Ministry of Investments, in addition to the industrial part is working on it, and electricity, to avail what we are calling it the infrastructure and everything to investors to have a great appetite to invest in Egypt. This will positively reflect on a lot of things, like bringing FDI, foreign direct investment, and we have a great plan to bring, or a great dream to bring FDI, stable fund, and I would like to emphasize on a stable fund, not hot money, because this is a crucial thing.
Yes.
In addition to one of the most crucial things, in my humble opinion, bringing a stable fund, decreasing also the unemployment rate, and decreasing the unemployment rate on both sectors, working to get qualified people to work on those multinational companies, and in addition to focus on SMEs, small and medium enterprises.
Yes.
This sector is a crucial. Why is it crucial? To, in a nutshell, to elaborate to our audience, the SMEs, small and medium enterprises sector is quite crucial, because metaphorically, if you have if our economy metaphorically consists of two companies, if one of them is defaulted, what will happen? Lose like 50%. Thank you.
Yes.
50% of our economy
is gone.
But if we have a lot of companies, if one of them defaulted, one of them, another one will
Just
come
like what
to the
happened in the USA in 2008, for example. One bank or a couple of banks, it could be collapsing the economy.
This will be like an organic thing, and it will not reflect. In other terms, we can say it ABC investment, you have to diversify your portfolio, or you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. And to see the synergy, you can find that we are engaging small and medium enterprises, and at the same time the Central Bank of Egypt and Ministry of Finance also giving incentive for those. In addition to Ministry of Investments, they are doing a great job. They are put what we are calling a tax incentive based on what? Based on that if you are an investor, you have to have like 60% of your components, industrial components or ingredients, will be from the local market.
Yes.
Can you see you imagine the synergy?
Yes, and we also are aiming for higher growth rates. Dr. Mohamed, allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, focusing on the GDP growth rates, which Egypt is expecting to be reaching 4% in the fiscal year of 2024-2025, 4%, and 4.5% in the later year 2025-2026. We'll be having more details regarding those statistics in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
Egypt's real GDP growth is projected to reach 4% by the end of fiscal year 2024-2025, which ends in June, and to reach 4.5% in fiscal year 2025-2026, which starts in July. Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashat said that the Egyptian economy has become more stable and predictable, positioning itself as a competitive regional export hub for Europe. She highlighted Egypt's ongoing economic reforms and growth strategies amid global uncertainty and protectionist trade policies. She noted that the government had a vision to shift from non-tradable sectors to tradable sectors, enhancing global competitiveness of Egyptian products. This outlook is underpinned by the government's commitment to structural reforms, ensuring sustainable economic stability. She pointed out that regional integration is a cornerstone for growth and investment, and establishing joint economic committees with countries like Jordan and Iraq fostered economic cooperation. Strategic initiatives such as electricity interconnection project between Egypt and Saudi Arabia are also pivotal in integrating energy networks across Gulf region. Al-Mashat said that Egypt's robust industrial base, which includes essential products as cement, steel, plastics, and processed foods, supports value chains and bolsters the country's export capabilities. The minister reaffirmed the government's dedication to fostering private sector-led development through continuous structural reforms to create an attractive environment for local and international investments, ensuring that Egypt remains on path towards sustainable economic growth. Egypt currently engages in an extended fund facility loan program with the International Monetary Fund worth $8 billion, which supports the second wave of structural and economic reforms till September 2026. The IMF's executive board scheduled the fourth review of Egypt's EFF program for Monday, 10th of March.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the program for tonight Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economic and the banking expert. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. We were speaking before the break about the growth rates for the fiscal year of 2024-2025 and 2025-2026 between 4 and 4.5 or 5%. Is this good enough from your point of view?
In my humble opinion, this is it will be a success story, but our ambitious plan is more than that. To be honest, to double this, to reach 8%, I believe we will do it in the near future, but we have to focus on a lot of things. This is one of the most important pillars, in my humble opinion, to focus on what we are calling it, to produce, metaphorically, qualified manpower. And I believe that presidential leadership, President Fattah al-Sisi is facilitating everything to invest in the Egyptian citizen, especially in two main parts: the health part and the education part, and you can see easily that we have an ambitious plan concerning having what we are calling it national health system, and the education part, not just the normal education, also the technical education. He's focusing on it, increasing the education budget to have a qualified manpower, and those one of the most important pillars, in addition to the challenge of absorbing the inflation and facilitating things for small and medium enterprises.
Yes.
In addition to the fourth one, which is facilitating all things or paving the road, in another term, for investors to come and invest in Egypt, in terms of giving them the tax incentive, having the qualified manpower, in addition to the regulation, and to feel safe. And this is, thanks God, nowadays we are feeling safe to just transfer his revenue or income anytime he would like to have. And we have one of the most important topics, political stability. Nowadays we can say it easily, and we are returning back to play our historical role, as discussed on our episode today.
Yes.
Returning back to, and this is a crucial, those main pillars, if we mix them, will be one of what we are calling a tiger economy. Metaphorically, they are saying it tiger because when you can see how the tiger is getting his victim, or when he is going, he is working smart, slowly, and he is the pace, or he accelerating, running to get his victim.
Yes.
Accordingly, we will be like what we are calling it economically. We will have a tiger movement. Metaphorically, the pace will increase, everything will be better, but we have to focus on those main pillars. In addition to one of the most important things that the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi highlighted, the increasing of population, actually, or the newborn.
Yes.
This is one of the most important things we have to focus on it, because it's what we are calling it absorbing the economic growth. And I believe all sectors are working in parallel for the first time, integrating together and working in a smart and homogeneous way will positively reflect on our economic growth, and maybe you can see the 4% will be 8%, and I'm totally optimistic for this part, especially as I told you, and this will, my humble opinion, I'm quite sure with this pace that we are working on it, the decreasing of inflation rate will positively on decreasing the interest rate, and decreasing the interest rate in the coming, as far as I recall, it will be mid of April, 17th April, something like that, the MPC meeting, Monetary Policy Committee meeting. To recall this episode, you will see that the interest rate will decrease, and this will positively reflect on the economic wheel to decrease the lending cost, and this will encourage a lot of investors to invest and have their own projects, and will positively reflect on the economic growth as we discussed previously.
Yes, and today's meeting as well between President al-Sisi, Prime Minister Madhouli, and the Minister of Finance, Kojok, it discussed a number of important topics. One of them is the financial discipline. Do you think that this financial discipline, this term, is about the governmental measures that will be implemented for the benefit of the citizen, or it's also about the financial discipline of the citizen, of the Egyptians, that we need to be having more financial discipline for the future? Is it about the government or the citizen, or both?
I believe we have to see, when you are talking about financial discipline, it comes to top of my mind the financial discipline with the holistic approach.
Yes.
What is the holistic approach for the governmental part and for the citizen? Nowadays, you can see that every expense that the government nowadays is paying it, they are calculating what we are calling it ROI. What's ROI?
Return on investment.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hats off. You are an economic expert,
No, you
honestly. The ROI, return on investment. Accordingly, everything the government is working to invest, or to, in another term, to pay for it, it should reflect positively, and it should have its ROI. The ROI not just financial part, like investing, that could be direct or indirect, like investing in manpower or people. This is one of the most important things.
Yes.
It will have ROI to have a skilled or qualified manpower, which positively will help in the economic growth, and as I discussed the previous year, bringing FDI, bringing a lot of things. And the other part, as I told you, that we have to see the holistic picture. The second part for the Egyptian citizen, then this is quite crucial, because the government is focusing, there are a lot of expenses. It should be, we have to, what we are calling it, to focus on giving our citizen what we are calling it the substitute products. There are a lot of luxury products. We are wasting the foreign currency on it, and the government is working with the private sector in a smart way to substitute those products, and just not substituting it, creating what we are calling it in marketing a competitive edge.
The same quality.
Not same quality only.
Yes.
The competitive edge, it's a new era. The competitive edge, to have the same quality, you are substituting the product. This product, you are giving another product.
Yes.
To have a competitive edge, for example, in terms of the quality, in terms of pricing, you have the same quality, but the price is lower. As a consumer, what will be your behavior? You will go for the cheapest product if they are having equal quality. This is what we are calling it the competitive edge. And currently, the government is under the presidential Abdel Fattah al-Sisi direction, focusing on creating what we are calling it a competitive edge. Accordingly, to return back to our point,
yes,
today's meeting was quite crucial to have to agree on the next milestones concerning the economic reform and achieving what we are calling it the optimum economic growth, to in the next year to achieve 4 to 5% GDP growth. This is one of the most optimistic figures in a short term, and this is what we are calling it the quick win. And in my humble opinion, to bear the fruits of economic growth in a short time, this is a great thing. And there are a lot of signals that highlight or emphasize that we are on the right track. One of them, that for the first time Egypt invited to join the BRICS. This is one of the most important or significant things. In addition to also the credit risk agencies highlighting that we have an optimistic future.
Yes.
And to don't, because I know the time, to summarize things or to conclude things, we have a great strategy, and implementing it in a smart way. In addition to, we have a lot of signals from the global side that we are on the right track.
Yes, Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the banking and the economic expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate, and once again, happy Ramadan.
Thank you. Happy Ramadan to you and our audience.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.